This program is part of American Graduate. Let's make it happen. A public media initiative made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting.
Major support comes from Norfolk State University.
Seize the opportunity for the high-demand, high-reward jobs you want at Norfolk State University. The world needs people with degrees in science, technology, engineering, math, and healthcare. Norfolk State leads Hampton Roads with world-class faculty and facilities. Interested in solving complex problems, creating real breakthroughs to shape the future? Open the door to your future. Find out more at nsu.edu. Norfolk State University, achieving excellence, success beyond measure.
How old were you when you found out that you were pregnant?
14.
The first thing that went through your mind?
I was scared.
My mom was diagnosed with epilepsy, and her partner ended up leaving her because of it. We ended up losing the house. I was homeless.
She said, "Mom, why is it that, I have people that just want to be mean to me?"
Every time I even walked into that school, I just knew that something was going to happen. I didn't like it, and I wanted to leave, and I didn't want to come back.
There is no one reason why a student makes the decision to drop out of school. Pregnancy, caring for a family member, homelessness, and bullying are just a few. And the majority are students who could have and believe they could have succeeded in school. Unfortunately for these students, life gets in the way. Like most high school seniors, 17-year-old Jasmine Smith has her sights set on graduation. Jasmine wants to graduate on time with honors from Portsmouth's Wilson High School with an advanced diploma. But unlike most of her classmates, she'll have to do it while taking care of her two young daughters.
Okay, I had Arjuna in January my freshman year, so I was homebound for 6 weeks.
Thanks to homebound studies, Jasmine was able to return to school and stay with her class. Then, the summer before her junior year, Jasmine learned she was pregnant again.
I was really scared then because I had complications with Arjuna. I found that I had heart disease, which my father had. Really, I was scared I was going to die. I wasn't even supposed to have her. Being that my heart problem is that type of condition where it's bad.
Jasmine delivered a healthy baby, and with help from her mother, who watched her girls during the day, Jasmine was able to return to school in December of her junior year. She was eager to catch up, but upon her return, she hit a hurdle that made her consider dropping out.
One teacher kind of gave me a hard time when I came back. I'm pushing myself to, get further ahead in life, but if it seemed like I was just being held back just from this one class. And I just hate failing. I just hate failing. That's just I don't like that. Because I just feel like I just didn't succeed in anything.
Jasmine's feelings are not uncommon. According to the Center for Disease Control, pregnancy is the #1 reason teenage girls drop out. 2 national studies show that at least half of the teens who gave birth leave, and the majority say they would have stayed had they received greater support from the adults at school. Another factor that pulls students out of school is illness, either their own or their desire to care for a family member. Clinton Harris says not only was his mother diagnosed with epilepsy, but his sister was in jail, which meant he and his mom had to care for her 2 children.
I was the only one that could take care of her, and she had to stop working because she needed disability, and disability takes a while. We ended up losing the house and everything. I did end up selling her prescriptions, but it still didn't make up for the money we needed. We were jumping from house to house every month or so, and we ended up finding this one place that, seemed pretty good with one of her friends, and me and him had gotten into a bad argument. I ended up breaking my hand. I had surgery on it twice. At that point, school was impossible. I was moving around.
Experts say every time a child relocates from one school to the next, the student can lose up to 6 months of their educational advancement. And it doesn't seem to matter whether it's because they're homeless or because they're part of a military family.
At that point, I'd really just given up. I didn't care about school, didn't want nothing to do with it. I looked at it as I had more important things on my hands.
Rebecca Kaur says she pretty much had the same attitude as Clinton when she was in the 9th grade at Denby High School in Newport News.
I didn't really care. Freshman, I just thought, have fun. I have 3 years to, catch up with my grades. So it was like a little party life for me.
It didn't take long before Becca's grades caught up with her lifestyle.
I kept getting Fs on our report cards, and I wasn't passing anything.
But like many students who leave school, there were other factors contributing to Becca's behavior. Becca wasn't going to school. She was only in class 2 or 3 days a week.
The overall year, I had probably like 50, 60 absences.
Becca's actions and attitude could very easily have lumped her in the category of a child who just didn't care and should be allowed to do as she pleases. But if you dig a little deeper, you'll see that Becca was caring very deeply about something she could not control.
I just found out that my mom was diagnosed with a brain tumor. When I thought of brain tumor, I figured that I only had like a little bit of time left with my mom. I'd just say there was no point. I'm not doing anything. I'm not going to do any work. I'm not going to learn. It's just going to be on my mind. So I just never went.
As a counselor, Heidi Felder sees kids struggling with challenging circumstances daily. So she knew she had to take action the minute she found out her daughter was being bullied.
How I began to learn about what was happening with her was watching her reactions when she came home from school. I noticed that she went into her room. She stood by herself. She isolated herself. She wouldn't talk. When I did ask her things, she would get very emotional, would, raise her voice.
For Christina, whether the harsh words came from the mouth of a classmate or over the internet, they were painful. And so was the idea of going to school and being bullied.
Like sometimes you just want to kill yourself and just make sure that you're not even here anymore.
She was on the cheerleading squad. The boys that were teasing her were on the football team. Had to take off the cheerleading squad. She's very athletic. Everything she had to come out of because nothing could be done.
Most of the challenges that students face are not ones that they cannot overcome, but inadequate responses to those circumstances from schools, family members, and the community makes the struggle seem insurmountable. 19-year-old Raymond Harris had given up all hope of graduating with his class and had already grabbed the paperwork needed to withdraw from Norfolk's Granby High School.
I was behind a lot of my classes. My attendance was bad. I just figured that, and this happened to me in the past, years here in Granby. I've been screwing around. I just figured GED would be the only opportunity for me because my chances of getting a high school diploma were over, so I just figured like I'm wasting my time here.
The majority of dropouts blame themselves for failing to graduate on time, but they also say there were things their family and their schools could have done to help them. Christine Carter, a truancy officer at Norfolk's Granby High School, has seen it all.
It could be a range of anything. Lack of clothing, lack of food. It could be just not having the parents there in their home that could give them the support that they need to do their homework, the ability for them to just step out and say they want an education. It can be the environment where they're living at. They come to me with other personal issues, pregnancy, being displaced in the home, relationships with family members or the significant others in their life. They have issues way beyond the attendance issue. So having somebody there, just a positive figure, somebody just to listen, just to listen. Most of the time that's all they want is someone just to listen to what is going on with them in their personal lives.
Sherry Brunell sees the problem from two perspectives: as a teen who dropped out herself after battling years of sexual abuse, and as the mother of a high school student.
I was trying to hide from the person who was coming to look for me, so it was better just not to go to school and to hide out at someone's house until school was over.
Fast forward 20 years, and Sherry is now a college student, determined to secure a better life for herself and her children, and is very sensitive to the struggles teens face.
We're adults, we know what life has to hold for us. These are children who have, some parents don't even care about them. And that's the part that kills me, is that they allow them to go and do whatever they want to do, but they don't push them. My daughter's had several friends that their parents have just given up on them. Let them run away, let them do. One's in prison right now. And it's the worst thing for me is to see them struggle. The one that's in prison at the moment, he didn't have to be there. He just needed somebody to care about him. And he walked away from us. He started hanging out with the wrong crowd and didn't realize when he got in trouble, he came back here. And he said, I wish I'd have listened. I wish I'd remembered. I could have came back. Sorry.
They have kids, stress, family problems, anybody else?
In some cases, their family's financial situation means they have to work part or even full-time to help make ends meet. This can leave little time for studying. But one of the biggest reasons teens drop out is a lack of interest, which often is the catalyst to other problems like truancy, pregnancy, and criminal activity. While some students wanted more interesting and engaging classes, the majority said they believe if just one person who really had their best interest at heart would have sat them down and talked to them and listened to what they were going through, it would have made all the difference. For Raymond, that person was Paula Eisen.
Well, Miss Eisen, she had a long talk with me about trying to, we'll work with you and everything, because I really didn't want to get a GED. I wanted some type of help because I wanted to change. And just graduate and get out of here and move on with my life. Any help that I can get, I'll take it, So a second chance is good enough for me, so I took the second chance and...
According to a study conducted by the U.S. Department of Education, the #1 reason teens drop out of high school is a lack of involvement from their parents and a lack of encouragement from their teachers. Of the 5,000 teenagers polled, 75% cited that lack of support as their reason for dropping out. Studies show that students who drop out face an uphill battle for the rest of their lives. Their chances of ending up with a low-paying job or no job at all is extremely high. Some have to rely on government-supported programs to survive. This not only affects their quality of life, but impacts our national economy as a whole. According to a national study endorsed by law enforcement officers from around the country, dropouts are 3.5 times more likely to commit a crime and 8 times as likely to be incarcerated than someone who graduates high school. The report from Fight Crime, Invest in Kids says increasing the graduation rate by just 10% would prevent over 3,000 murders and 175,000 aggravated assaults in this country each year.
I don't have no family to support me for real. I don't got nobody to support me.
All right, how are you? Come on in here.
17-year-old Rashad Melton wishes every day that he would have stayed in school and finished. Rashad made good grades but had a temper. So instead of graduating next year with his class at Portsmouth's Churchland High School, he will spend the next 53 years behind bars.
I had gotten something that I ain't had nothing to do with. A fight had started, and a chair had been thrown at me, but I ain't even supposed to been around that fight anyway. And a chair had been thrown at me, so I had fought him just for him throwing the chair at me, for me not supposed to be around anyway.
For Rashad, things went from bad to worse. He was expelled for 3 months. While at home, he joined a gang. He was 15 years old at the time.
My mind just drifted off somewhere else, and I was just in the streets.
It wasn't long before Rashad was convicted of robbery and gang activity. His 45-year sentence was suspended, but he was now a convicted felon and on probation. So he went home to the community he'd grown up in.
I'm from the neighborhood they from, and all us was just in the neighborhood, and the person who made up the game, and we all just came together. And these are people that I grew up with from little, and it ain't really feel like no game to me. It just felt like I was around my family for real.
Within a year, Rashad was arrested again. This time, he received 25 years for probation violation and another 28 years for malicious wounding and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon.
I've been incarcerated for 15 months. My first time being incarcerated. I understand now. Like, I really do understand. Like, the stuff I was doing was crazy, because I could have been an athlete right now. I was running track at first. I was great at track, and I just messed up my life. And now they looking at me through a glass window. The stuff I was doing was stupid.
According to the Virginia Department of Education, it costs taxpayers just over $11,000 each year to educate one student. The cost to incarcerate someone is more than $34,000 annually. That means, had Rashad Melton returned to high school and graduated, the cost to Virginia taxpayers would have been about $45,300. His incarceration for the next 53 years will cost taxpayers more than $1,800,000. But the cost goes even further than tax dollars. Employers worry about the impact an uneducated workforce will have on our community. The region's second largest employer, Centera Healthcare, is concerned about how the dropout epidemic could impact healthcare. At Centera, the most entry-level positions require a high school diploma or GED.
Well, it could eventually impact the care that we give for the people that live in our community. So it takes an educated workforce to provide care, whether it's at the doctor's office, the nursing home, or in our hospitals.
The Vice President of Human Resources and Administration for our region's largest employer, Newport News Shipbuilding, explains why it's important to their business that workers graduate.
It is much, much better for us if they finish high school. Because if they finish high school, they've got better math skills, they have literacy skills, they've got a lot more of an understanding of what it actually takes to become a good employee.
The 125-year-old company builds some of the most complex warships for our military. This includes aircraft carriers and nuclear submarines. Bill Bell says this makes having enough educated workers available to get the job done key to our national defense.
We expect to hire somewhere between 10 and 15,000 people over the next 5 years. If we cannot hire those folks locally, we will go across the country to find them, to get them here. If we're unable to get those folks here, we won't be able to build those national assets for the defense of our country.
According to a new report, the security threat goes even deeper. 3/4 of the young people under the age of 24 who would like to enlist in the military can't because they've either failed to graduate high school or have a criminal record. And while students who receive a GED can sometimes be granted a waiver of the graduation requirement, most don't score high enough on the military's entrance exam to qualify.
Dropout prevention programs are really the very best economic development tool, because if youngsters graduate from school, if they are job ready or ready for higher education, they're in a position to contribute back to their community in the way of economic development.
Dr. Jay Smink is the former executive director of the National Dropout Center located on the campus of Clemson University in South Carolina. He now travels around the country meeting with educators and community leaders about ways to tackle the dropout crisis.
Schools can do something about kids dropping out of school, but if they do it in collaboration with the community, it's a much more powerful force. In fact, some of the things that community leaders and community organizations can do is the notion of being a mentor or a tutor.
Dr. Smink also recommends that principals, counselors, or even superintendents conduct exit interviews when a student is considering dropping out of school.
It gives that principal or superintendent or even counselor a perspective on how did we fail to keep this student fully engaged in a personalized learning environment? What did we do wrong, and how can we guard against doing that with other students?
You'll be able to capitalize leaps and bounds when you apply for college, internship.
Norview principal Dr. Marjorie Steele couldn't agree more.
I think it's my role. I think it's my job, my role to say, wait, stop, just a second, let's think through this. I think we need to stop, put parents and students on pause for a second, and say, let's think through this. You know, right now, this might be the answer that is facing you, the immediate answer, but what about 3 months from now, a year from now? How about 3 years from now? Or what about when you're 30 and you're telling your children, you know, to stay in school, to work hard? What's the effect of that going to be if you yourself left early?
In Newport News, graduation coaches are in place to help students prepare for on-time graduation.
All 5 high schools have 2 coaches at every school, and we help with our 9th graders transitioning from 8th grade to 9th grade. We help our seniors stay on track toward graduation. We also look at our repeat 9th graders and our overage students. So if we have any students that may be doing a little backsliding, having a little difficulty, whether it's challenges within the building, within their academics, or outside challenges, we try to provide support to them.
Since Wilson High School Principal Timothy Johnson came on board 3 years ago, the number of students graduating on time has increased 23%. He says they not only watch their students academically, but monitor what their needs are closely.
Come in and let's talk about what your situations are and give us the opportunity to help you. If we don't know what your needs are, we can't help you. Some of the young ladies, we had to make them aware that there are child care services available through the Community Services Board and social services. I'm real serious though. Some of our kids have to work because they have to help support the family financially. So we had to show them how you get your education, you could get a better job to help support your family.
And that's what keeps students like Jasmine Smith fighting the odds.
I just think about my kids and my kids' future. Being that, you know, I am a teen mom and there are statistics saying that we're going to drop out or, you know, other things, I'm not going to let that one class stop me. So I think about my kids and my kids' future, and I think about how I want them to live. You know, I want them to live better than me, just like my mama said she want me to be better than her.
Those who had someone intervene to steer them in the right direction or who now wish someone had, offer these words of encouragement to others who may find themselves facing challenging circumstances.
I think it's so important that we listen to our students. One little change in their schedule, if it is, or their personal life to assist them can mean so much of a difference between them staying in school and not staying in school.
Life is tough, and it's hard times out here. A diploma is your gateway. The GED is not enough for you. Just try to stay in school and do the best you can.
A lot of people get frustrated and they're like, oh, I'm just going to drop out of school. And I'm like, why? You're not going to make it. You want a good career. Just deal with it. Get up every day. Go to school.
I wasn't happy about 5.5 months in a military academy, but it really changed your mindset. I thought I was, I dug a hole that was so far deep I couldn't get out of it. And this program's given me the opportunity to come back and get on my feet and do what I have to do.
Talk to somebody that you feel like on your side.
Let me see it.
If you feel like you close to somebody and that's your friend, he wouldn't tell you nothing negative. He wouldn't let you do nothing negative. If he lets you do something negative, he's not your friend.
This program is part of American Graduate. Let's make it happen. A public media initiative made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting.
Major support comes from Norfolk State University.
Seize the opportunity for the high-demand, high-reward jobs you want at Norfolk State University. The world needs people with degrees in science, technology, engineering, math, and healthcare. Norfolk State leads Hampton Roads with world-class faculty and facilities. Interested in solving complex problems, creating real breakthroughs to shape the future? Open the door to your future. Find out more at nsu.edu. Norfolk State University, achieving excellence, success beyond measure.